I'm Jim Tech. You're watching Now Media. With me, Lyndsay Richholt. We're going to do an update. We talked with Lyndsay, it's got to be a couple of weeks ago now, and you were looking for a liver transplant and having some tough time getting information from BC Transplant. I understand, though, that they have reached out to you and you did get an appointment with them and you got to talk with them. Maybe you can give us an update as to what's going on.
Sure. Thank you, Jim, for having me again to continue sharing my story. After all the media attention and letters received from my family and friends, BC Transplant invited my husband and I to Vancouver to meet with one of their doctors to discuss my case. The doctor immediately acknowledged that I am clinically sicker than what my MELD score indicates. Again, MELD score is the model for end-stage liver disease used to prioritize patients for liver transplant who are on the wait list. Although they were empathetic to my situation and that I am sicker than what my MELD score says, there's nothing they can or will do to change my MELD score. They were excited to share that the waitlist time for a liver transplant has decreased. It's now only 3 to 6 months. Unfortunately, though, I've been waiting over 7 because of my low MELD score. The doctor acknowledged that the MELD score system is not great and it is missing a large group of people like myself. They are looking into a new scoring system and I think working with AI, but they're not there yet and there's nothing that's going to come in time to help me. I was very frustrated with this and gave, the example that while I don't think I'm more deserving than everyone else currently waiting in BC for a liver, I struggle with the fact that, for example, a 65-year-old with a liver disease due to alcohol use is getting a transplant before me. The doctor did acknowledge that liver disease from alcohol use does fit into the MELD score. It calculates better for them than it does for people with my disease and a couple of other autoimmune diseases. But again, there's nothing that they can do to change that. The doctors are held by the current rules of the MELD score that they are given. He did say that seeing me and my swelling and how much I'm struggling is good for them to know. They declined giving me any exception points. They can give exception points to increase your MELD score, but they're usually only willing to give those to patients who have liver cancer. So there's nothing that's going to bump my MELD score there. They also did acknowledge that me being reviewed every 6 months was a communication error. And going forward, have I not had my transplant, they'll review me every 3 months. Again, time is running a little bit low in April. I was given only 6 months from my doctor and the doctor at the hospital. So we are still hoping and anxiously waiting that something will happen there. He did say that at this time, live transplant is still my best option. They originally, we did a public plea for donors back in April. We had about 50 that we had vetted that were serious about donating, but they had to be rejected for being out of province or not related to me. BC Transplant, or the doctor, did acknowledge that was a bit of an error. The live donor program was in its infancy, and they do actually accept solicited donors. So we're trying to work with BC Transplant right now to go back to to find and go back to those 50 people that originally came forward to look for live donation. So right now, I have 2 pleas, and one, of course, is a live donor. Anyone with blood B or O that is interested in donating. It's a very hard thing to ask, but unfortunately, that is where we're at. And I'm also really trying to appeal to our BC healthcare system that we need to prioritize these changes to the MELD score system as soon as possible. Um, it not calculating for a large group of people like myself, and a system that prioritizes a 65-year-old alcoholic over a 42-year-old young mom with an autoimmune disease. I really struggle with that. And we, if there isn't a new scoring system, then we at least need to be more loose with the exception points that we can give patients to prioritize them.
So one of your bigger priorities right now is to get a live donor, though. That is kind of like the
That's
thing
right.
right now. Last time we talked, you said they would only test a couple people every 3 months. Are they willing to test more people to get somebody out of that group of 50, if that's possible?
They will test 3 to 5 people at a time. On average, 1 in every 6 ends up being a true match. So they'll do 3 to 5 at a time. They did acknowledge there was a few people currently being tested, but nothing that had been completed or confirmed. Um, and they would do their best to get through, to get the testing booked as quickly as possible. But it depends. We have someone, for example, in Toronto currently being tested. So those should go through pretty quickly. But then, they are responsible for paying for those tests. So there's lots of little hiccups we're finding along the way, but our priority is just to get in as many people as we can being tested. The more that are tested, the better my odds are of finding a true match sooner than later.
Yeah, because we did reach out to BC Transplant, and we also reached out to Alberta Health Services as well, because I believe you at that time you said that Alberta Health Services would be willing to test more people than BC Transplant was.
Yes, correct. Yeah, and Toronto is as well. And then BC right now is able to handle about 3 to 5 at a time.
And then there is a plan B that I know that your family is kind of working on as well. And then hopefully plan B doesn't have to happen, because that obviously involves travel, and that obviously is precarious as well.
Yeah, it's sort of a backup plan. Um, we do have a surgeon in Guadalajara who is more than willing to do the surgery for me as soon as possible. But we do have to have a donor, a confirmed donor match to go over there and have it done. The problem is if we do have a confirmed donor match, there should be no reason why BC Transplant shouldn't be able to book me in immediately for surgery. But if they can't book me in right away, then we have another option to go out of country if we need to, once that live donor match is confirmed.
Well, if you
But
do
we
have,
are hoping BC
yeah,
Transplant would get me in right away.
if you do have to go out of country, is there airline issues then too, like getting on an airline in the condition you're in, or?
Yeah, actually, my families come together to put together expenses for a private plane if we had to go that route, um, just as a backup plan if we do get to the point where I've run out of time.
Well, it's good that you have a great family around you.
I
Um,
do.
and hopefully we have a great province around you that can actually fulfill the healthcare needs that you so dearly need right now.
Yes, definitely. I have a 13-year-old son who's watching me struggle and get worse every day and doesn't understand why our healthcare system isn't helping me. And it's a difficult conversation to have and explain to him um, why we aren't getting the help we desperately need.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully this update from you helps as well. It helps get people to come forward to be considered as a live donor as well. And hopefully
Yes,
that match, I think that's the critical point that has to happen right now, is to get that match, right?
absolutely. It is. And a huge thank you to those of you who have come forward. And yes, anyone else who is interested and willing to do this selfless act. Greatly appreciate it, and please let us know.
And we do want to follow this story, and hopefully to a very happy ending, we hope, and that you get a live donor and that you can have that surgery here in British Columbia with your family around you. Um,
That's the plan. Thank you, Jim.
is there anything else you want to share right now, or?
No, that's everything. Just a huge thank you to everyone for sharing my story and reaching out, even those who aren't a match, but reaching out with words of sympathy and love and support. Greatly appreciated, and really helps me a lot in the day to day.
And if you hear this story, if you can share this story far and wide to help Lyndsay and her family at this time, that would be very much appreciated. And we do thank you for watching Now Media.
We don't just report the news. We live here too. We're your neighbors, bringing you stories that matter to all of us. No government funding, no outside influence. Kelowna Now, local, independent.